Hi there, and welcome to the 12 Months Marathon podcast with me, John Hill, the running podcast for the over 35s with Marathon Dreams, coming to you live from Poland. Now, I'm not too sure what the sound quality is going to be like here because I've got a bit of a makeshift setup, but we're going to do these podcasts weekly where absolutely possible, and I can absolutely possibly do that for you today. So this is episode 6, and I'm going to do the Olympic edition today because I want to talk about the Olympics. Now, I was never into the Olympics much as a kid, primarily just because I was overweight as a kid, really, and I was obsessed with football primarily, but I wasn't really obsessed with other sports until I got a little bit older. So I was never really into the Olympics. I remember significant events in the Olympics, like the Ben Johnson situation in 1988. I do remember that, but I don't really remember a lot of the Olympics. So since I started running, of course, I've gained a bit of extra interest in the Olympic events, particularly the running events. And I just like winners, to be honest. I just like studying people who win and see what they do and see what their mindset is and see how they behave. So I want to focus on a few things with you today. And I want to make quite a detailed and poignant point at the end of today's podcast. So a couple of things that impressed me the most about the Olympics was Alex Yee in the triathlon, making up a good few seconds in the 10K. I'm not a triathlete myself. I really dislike cycling and swimming. But Alex made up the distance on the run, and what I loved about that was you could see his conviction that he was going to win and how shocked the guy Wild from New Zealand was that he passed him. He was quite shocked. He jumped because he didn't know he was coming, and I think that was a fantastic performance from Alex and showed mental strength. I think he was a sub 30-minute 10K as well after all that in a triathlon, which is even more impressive. So yeah, suitably impressed with him. Keely Hodgkinson, I know that's been a bit of a journey for Keely Hodgkinson. I've watched her race on TV a few times and I've heard her do interviews and stuff, and she seems quite humble. And one thing I like about Keely, well, a couple of things actually, was when she was coming on the stretch, so when she was coming on the home straight, you could just see that she knew she was going to win, and I think that gives her such a psychological advantage over the opposition because she just knew. And when you see somebody pull away like that and you see that extra gear they've got and their determination to win, it's really, really impressive. And it was really good to watch. And it was interesting actually because I saw a thing on BBC Sport about the how fast she was going and whether you could do that. They were doing a test where they were putting people in a harness. They did it a few years ago as well. It was called How Mo Can You Go, and it was trying to run at Mo Farah's 10k pace, and this was trying to run at Keely Hodgkinson's 800 metre pace, which was 25 kilometres an hour. I think I saw a memory pop on Facebook the other day actually where I ran 30 seconds at 20, so it just shows you how fast she's actually going. So really, really impressive, and you know, she deserves it, and the mindset to do that and to keep going and just to finish is incredible. Really, really, really incredible. So that was the two big things for me that popped out. Was that, and then what I want to talk about really is the marathons, because there was two marathons, the men's and the women's, and it was a historic one in Paris because the women's finished the event, whereas normally the men's finishes the event. And I think that was something to do with the women's march to Versailles, which was part of the French Revolution. That's as far as I know, I think. Anyway, so pardon me if I've got that wrong, but that's what I believe to be the reason why they had the women's on last, because it was quite symbolic, and that's fantastic. And obviously, Hassan won, Sifa Hassan won, and did a little nudge at the end as she was romping home. So what people's opinions are on that is down to them. What I particularly liked about the women's marathon was the lady who finished last, because what it showed was the spirit of runners. So the lady who finished last, she had to walk some of the course because apparently it was a really brutal course and it was quite warm. So the lady's name, she's from Bhutan, and she was Kinsang Hamo, hopefully I've pronounced that right, and she finished last. She finished just under 4 hours, and she got a standing, all the crowd were there, she got a guard of honour, some of the other runners were hugging her at the end because it was a great achievement, her finishing after having to walk for some of it actually. And the reason why I bring her up is because I noticed an article about this online and then noticed a lot of comments on this online, and there was some very disgusting comments, if I'm really honest, criticising this woman. Now, I will always say this, people are entitled to their opinion, and that's absolutely fine, and I don't think that we should really stop people from giving their opinions. But the rest of us have the entitlement to call those opinions stupid. So you're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to call your opinion stupid. For me, the online abuse that a few athletes got in the Olympics concerns me when it's adults first and foremost, because I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm an angel and I wasn't a little toe rag as a kid and in my younger years. I'm not going to sit here and say that. But I think with the marathon, a few people were criticising her, and whilst 3:52 I think it was isn't marathon standard at Olympic level, I know most people I know would do anything for a sub-4 marathon. A lot of people that I speak to regularly would do anything to do a marathon. And what this attitude does is it puts people off running, because when I posted about this on Instagram, 12 months to marathon, please drop me a follow, a lot of people commented and said, oh yeah, I've had that at park run, or I've had that at a race, or I've been to running clubs where they say, oh, you're not fast enough to run with us. Now, let's be honest here. If a running club says, this is what we do, and they clearly state that up front, that's different, because they're clearly stating that's who they are. Now, what you think of that is different. Or there's another thing, which is if somebody puts themselves in the wrong wave of a race and they're too slow to go at the front and they're annoying faster runners. Well, that's an honest mistake, and you can kind of understand why a few people might be annoyed. And I must admit, I've been there myself. I'm not shouted at the person, I've not belittled the person, but a little bit of me, the competitive bit of me, got a bit annoyed, and that's normal, that's human behaviour. But openly criticising people for trying their best is what stops people from starting any journey in fitness or running. Now, I've been very fortunate to lose a lot of weight. I've been very fortunate to start running journeys. I've been very fortunate to do some quite cool things when it comes to running. I like running fast. I like PBs. I like fulfilling my potential. But that's me. I know that's not everybody, and my job as a coach, first and foremost, which is what I am, and as a human being, hopefully, is to encourage people to say, let's have a go. Because I'll tell you something now, as a coach, there is nothing more heartbreaking than watching somebody give up. Yeah? Now, you get over it because you're a coach and you have to, that's part of what we do. But I've seen people give up on stuff, and it's just sometimes it really does get you a little bit, because you're like, oh, God, you could have made it. Do you know what I mean? You could have done this. You could have gone the distance if you'd have just stuck at it. And I think most people only fail when they stop trying, and I'm a big believer in that. So I think as a running community, we need to support people, because you could be the difference between somebody starting an incredible journey or not. Because let's say someone rocks up to parkrun and it's their first one and they're a little bit self-conscious, and they get a kind word from you, who might be an experienced runner. Well, you could be setting them on a path to achieving their dreams, Or vice versa. If you're that person who turns your nose up and says something, then you could be the person that destroys their dreams, because not everybody's made of the same stuff. And let's be honest, a lot of people run for free. They go to parkrun, they do something, running clubs, they do something that's free. So because there's no value attachment into it, it's going to be easier for them to drop out. And it just highlighted to me the problem with a lot of the times people's online behaviour, and no consequences for their actions and no consequences for their opinions. Even though, again, I'm clear on this, they are entitled to their opinions, and that's absolutely fine. But again, I'm entitled to question it, and I just think it shows the deeper problems here with all of fitness. It needs to be more accessible. Running needs to be accessible to more people, because you can do incredible things. Now, when I first started keeping fit and losing weight all those years ago, I had no idea I could end up here. No idea. And at the start, I was nervous, I was apprehensive, I thought I was going to walk in the gym to a load of ripped blokes and whatever, and gym bunnies and whatever it was. And it wasn't like that actually in the end, and I just stuck at it. But truth is, not everybody can do that, not everybody's got that drive, so they might need that encouraging word. And it's too easy sometimes for us to criticise people. And Mike Tyson said something funny. He said social media's made everybody fast, made everybody weak, because years ago you'd get a punch in the face for saying some of the things that you say online to someone's face. And I'm certainly not advocating that, but I'm just talking about the irony of it all, that people sometimes are really, really critical of people who have done their best. And it's not for us to criticise Olympic athletes, and it's not for us, in my opinion, to criticise anybody unless you are giving constructive criticism about someone's performance when they've asked you for it. Because when you're coaching people, if somebody wants constructive criticism around their performance, you do that, but you don't criticise the person, because it's not the person that's the problem, it's the person's performance. And being nasty, which is what I saw some quite nasty comments, just highlights it for me. And it made me laugh, because it reminded me of when Kipchoge broke the 2-hour marathon, and some people commented, oh, it's only because he was wearing the cheating trainers. And one comment killed me because someone commented that and then literally in the same thread said, yeah, but I've never run marathons, just halves. Well, I'm sorry, you're not qualified to criticise any marathon runner, let alone probably the greatest of all time. So the message for today is quite simple. Encourage people. Be an encourager. Be a lighthouse. Be a light that brings people to you. We've all got our faults. We all get angry. We all get annoyed. We all make mistakes. I get annoyed at things online. I'm interested in quite a few things that could really get me annoyed. So hence why, as part of my stay here, which is sort of like a holiday, I'm staying with my in-laws. I'm doing a bit of a digital detox to take me away from the things that annoy me, because it doesn't help and it doesn't add any value. So criticising people like that doesn't add any value. And it just makes you angry. And it says everything about you and nothing about the other person. But if you can say a kind word to somebody or a bit of encouragement and support somebody on their journey, you never know where that could take them. And that's the power we all have. So as a running community, we need to make it more accessible to people. So more people attempt parkrun, more people attempt races, more people do marathons, just attempt a marathon once in their life. Because as some of you may know, it's an amazing feeling. So great Olympics overall, I thought, and I just wanted to highlight that particular point because I think it's really, really important, particularly if you're listening to this and you are starting a journey out. If you're trying your best, that's all we can ask of you, and you only fail when you stop trying. So that's me, sort of Olympic overview stroke pseudo rant from me. So thank you very much here from sunny Poland. As always, I appreciate you listening to the podcast. Please remember to follow, share, like the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. I do appreciate that, and share it with your friends on social media. It's really, really appreciated. And don't forget to head over to Instagram, 12 Months to Marathon. Drop me a follow. If you do want any help or support, or you want to talk to me about running coaching, just drop me a message over there and I'll happily have a quick chat to you and see if and how we can help you further. Thank you very much for listening as always, and I will catch you all very soon indeed.